Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we are broadcasting from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks beautiful Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. I am so grateful to be here with you today, and I hope all of you listening are doing well. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. I want to thank all of you that leave us messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your comments, questions, and topics for future shows. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our radio show, please call or text us at 612-999-3426. Once again, 612-999-3426. You can also contact us on our website at livinghealthyradio.com. There you can find information about upcoming guests as well as listen to our previous shows. We look forward to hearing from you. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our radio shows on the AM 950 radio website, and we can also be found on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and many other podcast and streaming services. You can also watch our broadcast live on the radio station's Facebook page at AM 950 Radio. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in a few minutes will be Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center. And he's joining me, and we're going to talk about what is going on and what's happening at the National Eagle Center and why you should check it out this winter season. Now, winter is a uniquely eagle season in the upper Mississippi River Valley and the driftless area of southeastern Minnesota and southwestern Wisconsin, attracting hundreds of migratory bald eagles to the river and golden eagles to the blufflands. Plus, we're going to learn about how the center's mission educates and inspires people from all walks of life and how you can get involved in supporting care and educational mission of the Eagle Ambassadors. You will enjoy listening to my show today. This is going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to having Ed on the show for several months now, and this is the show, so we're excited about that. If you have a question for Ed today, you can get that question answered by texting me at 612-999-3426. Once again, 612-999-3426. Now, don't worry. If you missed that number, I will repeat it throughout the show. Also, don't wait till the show's ended to text us your questions. Often we receive many of the same questions after the show has ended. If you have a question, many others do as well. So please contact us during the show. And we look forward to answering your questions today. We received several calls this week regarding our previous show with Jonna Phillips, Therapy Program Director, and Eric Wickheiser, the board chair from the Veteran Resilience Project, VRP. And they joined me to talk about the effectiveness of using eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, commonly known as EMDR, to treat military trauma, post-traumatic stress symptoms, military sexual trauma, moral injury, soldier heart, combat stress, and many other after effects of war and military service. The Veteran Resilience Project serves all Minnesota veterans and connects veterans and military members to a VRP network, therapist, and provides 12 free EMDR therapy sessions. And this is regardless of VA eligibility. More information can be found online at veteranresilienceproject.org. That's veteranresilienceproject.org. Or you can listen to my podcast interview with Jonna and Eric on the AM 950 radio website or on your favorite podcast service. That was a great show last week. We had a lot of comments and questions that have come in from that. So please reach out to them. It's been helping a lot of veterans work themselves back into just a better quality of life. So I encourage people to do that. All right, I want to welcome my guest for today's show, Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center. Welcome to the show.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, Ken. It's a pleasure to join you.
Yes, like I said earlier, I've been looking forward to this show for quite a while. The National Eagle Center I visited several times over the last few years, and it is just phenomenal. So I'm hoping we can generate a lot of interest here from our listeners to explore what that whole organization that you have can do for us. But before we jump into this, I would love to have you tell us a bit about your background.
Yeah, well, so I've been at the National Eagle Center for 7.5 years now, and yeah, I guess my journey to joining the organization really is not one you would say is an expected one. I actually went to school for media and public relations, and really did not have any, natural sciences or animal science background before I got to the National Eagle Center in 2015. But I landed in the right spot because I absolutely love it. I really love interacting with our members, our guests, our online audiences, and really sharing the knowledge that we have of eagles and, sharing just the wonderful experiences of nature with them because they take so much away from it. So, our audiences, our members, they love eagles, they're excited to learn, and that is just super rewarding.
So, with your background, what inspired you, really to pursue this as your career?
Yeah, well, again, I didn't ever think that I would be working, one, in nonprofit, but two, at a nature organization. So it was one of those things where it was the right place at the right time. I was looking for a change in my career in 2015, and just so happened that a professional colleague of mine said, hey, you should check out the National Eagle Center. I'd never been to the center before. I live in Winona. So it's just, a short half-an-hour drive away. But I'd never been there, visited for the interview and just to check things out, and the rest is history. It made a huge impression on me, and I'm just so thrilled to be part of the organization.
Yeah, and what I'd like to do just so that people can understand this, I said, I'm like you. I had no idea this existed. I was born in Minnesota, raised in Minnesota, and it wasn't until I just literally stumbled across it while visiting Lake City on Lake Pepin in the southeast part of the state, and someone just happened to mention, while you're here, you should go down to Waukesha and check out the National Eagle Center. And I did. I had my kids with me, and it was the most amazing experience. So I really encourage people to do that. While we're talking about that, I'm going to let people know that they go online to go to nationaleaglecenter.org, nationaleaglecenter.org. It's an amazing website, first of all, but they can get a real sense and feel for all the different things that you have going on there. And we'll talk about those things throughout the show here. But I think if you could maybe start, we won't finish in this segment here, but if you could just start and talk about the history and the background of the organization. I mean, it's such an interesting story about how people got together with a passion and really made something incredible.
Sure. It is an incredible story, and it really has to do with, having dedicated people in the right place at the right time. As we all know, the bald eagle went through a period of critical endangerment last century, and that really resulted from the widespread use of DDT, which was an amazing insecticide, was very good at its job, but obviously had the unfortunate and unintended side effects of basically literally starting to wipe out the bald eagle population. And it wasn't just bald eagles either. You had other raptors and wildlife that were impacted as well, but that was really the species that garnered the most attention. And so we still have lots of guests and members who share stories with us all the time about, when I was younger, I remember the first bald eagle I ever saw. I remember when and where it was, and it was a really almost life-changing experience. And so that became really part of the American experience, that when you saw a bald eagle, you remembered when and where it was because they became so scarce. during, the 1960s, 70s, 80s. But one of the places in the lower 48 United States during that period of endangerment that people could come to reliably see bald eagles was the Wabasha area in the wintertime. And that is because the unique properties of the Mississippi River at that part of the river maintains open water during the winter season. And open water, because it still has access to fish, the primary part of a bald eagle's diet, is very attractive to them. So lots of those eagles from parts further north, northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, up into Canada, come every winter into the upper Mississippi River Valley to access fish during the winter. And so you had local people in Wabasha that, were eagle enthusiasts, bird watchers, and they would bring their friends and family who had those same interests to Wabasha during the winter. And that interest grew into kind of an informal viewing group that would bring people to Wabasha on the weekends in the winter. And eventually they built a wooden viewing platform right on the banks of the Mississippi, which is literally just outside where today's National Eagle Center sits. And they would set up spotting scopes and watch the eagles. And one thing led to another. And in 1989, that group of local volunteers incorporated into what is Eagle Watch, Inc. That is the legal entity of the National Eagle Center. And then 10 years after that, they opened the first Eagle Center, as it was known, on a small storefront on Main Street in downtown Wabasha. And then in 2007, we opened up the center that people know and love today. So that's really kind of the story in a nutshell. People always ask, well, of all the places in the United States the National Eagle Center could be located, why Wabasha? And that really is it. And it's because winter in that part, in this part of the country, is a hot spot for bald eagles.
All right. Listen, the music is cueing us out here, Ed. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, located in Wabasha, Minnesota, on the Mississippi River, 30 minutes south of Red Wing on Highway 61. If you have a question for Ed, text me at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about ways to improve your health and quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, located in Wabasha, Minnesota, and that's on the Mississippi River, 30 miles south of Red Wing on Highway 61, just so people know where this is located. And it's a world-class Eagle Center, I'll tell you. And I really encourage people to visit that and check it out. Today we're talking about what is happening at the National Eagle Center and why you should check it out this winter season. Winter is uniquely eagle season here in the upper Mississippi River Valley and the driftless area of southeastern Minnesota and southwestern Wisconsin. We'll ask Ed about, well, what does driftless area mean? We'll get that squared away here in this next segment. But in the winter, it attracts hundreds of migratory bald eagles to the river and the rarely seen golden eagles that haven't been seen here much in the past, but they will come here now in all the blufflands. Because if you've been out down to that part of the world, the Lake Pepin area, it's got amazing bluffs, just a beautiful area of Minnesota. But we're also going to learn more about the center's mission here in this next segment, about educating and inspiring people from all walks of life. So if you have a question for Ed, you can text us at 612-999-3426. All right, let's get back into our conversation with Ed. Hey, Ed, what If our listeners have more information or want more information or have more questions, what's the best way for them to find out things that are going on at the National Eagle Center?
Yeah, so if they're interested in events or scheduling things, definitely go to the website at nationaleaglecenter.org. But if they just have specific questions, they can always there are links on the website, or they can email us directly at info@nationaleaglecenter.org. Again, info@nationaleaglecenter.org. Or if they're on Facebook, they can always look us up on Facebook, and they can shoot us a direct message as well. And we do our best to respond to all of those in a timely manner and make sure that they get answers to all the questions they have.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm starting to get some text questions here. One person said, "Now, are you sure they're open during the wintertime?" and he also asked if they are open, what are the hours of operation, or what are the open hours to go visit the center? Could you respond to that question?
Absolutely. So there might be a little bit of confusion because last winter we were closed for a major renovation of the center. So that was kind of a blip on the radar, but that is now in the rearview mirror. We are open daily during the winter. We are open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. each and every single day. And if you're looking to avoid crowds, this is the quieter season for us, although it should be the busy season because now the Eagles are out in numbers. But if you're looking to avoid crowds and you just kind of want to have a more quiet experience, I would suggest people come anytime, Monday through Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, when I was there both during the week one time and during the weekend the other time, and a lot of great activity, great energy around there. And, of course, we'll talk more about some of the ambassadors that you have there. That creates just a lot of excitement for kids and adults. I want to keep going back a little bit in our conversation from last segment to talk about the mission. This is again, people that had a real passion for this, and I think a lot of people know, over the years, how close this national treasure came to be extinct. I know that looking at information. About 100 years ago or so, or a little bit more than 100 years ago, there was about 100,000, I think, nesting pairs is what I'm reading. And after the DDT and hunting and other things that occurred during the mid-20th century, they were down to about 400 pairs is what I'm reading. So we really,
yeah, correct.
I mean, this species literally almost went extinct. And if it wasn't for the passionate work and the efforts of people to turn that around, I mean, it's amazing too. Within a generation, we could have lost a national symbol of our country, and so it's great. Again, this is just so amazing to have what you guys have down there in Wabasha to help talk about the history. But again, I want to go back to that mission of what is the reason why you guys exist.
Yeah, I would say there's a kind of multiple prongs to the mission, but first and foremost, it really again grew out of the fact that they were endangered, and Wabasha was a place for eagles. It's kind of the heart of bald eagle territory, as I like to refer to it. And through our history up till just recently, the focus of the center really was more on kind of the natural side of things, the behavior, the biology of bald eagles. But more recently, the center has come into the possession of the Preston Cook American Eagle collection, which was gifted to us by the collector, Preston Cook, a gentleman who had his career out in the San Francisco Bay Area. And for over 50 years now, he has basically dedicated his life to collecting all things eagle from American history and culture. Everything from stamps to posters to coins to military artifacts to, government artifacts. And so with that on display now, following our renovations that I mentioned earlier, we also talk about the historical and cultural connections that we have to bald eagles, especially in this country. Certainly eagles of all types, there's over 60 species throughout the world, have always had a special place and special relationship to humans and human civilization because they're inspiring. Obviously, birds have always captured our imagination as humans because they can fly and that sense of freedom that they have. But certainly the bald eagle in American culture and American history holds a very special place. And so now we have expanded our mission to go from beyond just the natural and the biological to also include the cultural and historical. And that also extends to educating people about the connections and importance that bald eagles have to native cultures as well. That's also something that we are expanding our offerings and missions to educate on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, I had another question that's come in here on our text line, and they wanted to know, is there a connection between the National Eagle Center and the Raptor Center in the Twin Cities that is, I think, world famous for helping eagles and raptors recover from injuries, and it's kind of almost like a surgical center for raptors. Is there any connection between the two organizations?
Yeah, so they're two separate organizations. Obviously, the Raptor Center is part of the University of Minnesota. The National Eagle Center, again, Eagle Watch, Inc., is a private nonprofit. So really the only connection that we have to the Raptor Center directly is that they serve as the veterinarians for the eagle ambassadors that we care for at the center. But other than that, we are two separate organizations.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when I was down there, they did recently have one of the ambassadors, I think, come back from the Raptor Center. And so always just amazing stories down there. We got the music here, Ed, so we're going to be queuing out here in a few seconds. All right, folks, I want to let you know that we are talking with Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, located in Wabasha, Minnesota, on the Mississippi River, about 30 miles south of Red Wing on Highway 61. And we're talking about what's happening at the National Eagle Center and why you should check it out this winter season. This is the time to do it. We've got eagles all flocking together, and we'll talk more about why they flock there in the next segment. But it's a great time to go visit this amazing, amazing center. If you have a question for us, please text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you're listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. Welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about ways to improve your health and quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, and that's located in Wabasha, Minnesota, on the Mississippi River, and that's just about 30 miles south of Red Wing on Highway 61, and we're talking about what's happening at the National Eagle Center and why you should check it out this winter season. Yes, they are open year-round, and I know many places, especially in that southeastern part of the state, tend to close down over the winter, but this is open year-round, and it's absolutely worth the trip to go check out this National Eagle Center. If you have a question for us, please text us at 612-999-3426. Once again, 612-999-3426. Okay, before we return to our conversation, I want to mention this radio show is brought to you in part each week by Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is a locally owned independent medical practice serving our Twin Cities communities with innovative and comprehensive end-of-life health care. The team at Minnesota Hospice has been providing patients and family members with award-winning end-of-life health care services. Hospice, as you may know, brings compassionate medical, social, emotional, and spiritual services to your home with typically no cost to you or your family. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you and your loved ones. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the caring team of experts at Minnesota Hospice. They are available to answer your questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that phone number is answered by a registered nurse. Their phone number is 952-898-1022. Once again, that number is 952-898-1022, or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. All right, let's return to our conversation with Ed Hahn from the National Eagle Center. Ed, how can our listeners contact your organization or ask questions if they want more information?
You can always go to the website at nationaleaglecenter.org. You can leave an email at info@nationaleaglecenter.org, or you can look us up on Facebook and send us a direct message, and we will get right back to you.
All right, fantastic. Okay, we got so much to cover here, and I want to make sure we get as much of it in as possible. You guys are a nonprofit, and
correct.
And so people have the ability to donate to the National Eagle Center, and so I want to make sure we let people know that that's something that they can do for as little as $50 a year. Right? People can join and become a member, and there's all different levels of membership to the organization.
That is correct. And in fact, we also just in the past 6 months have rolled out a new and exciting program that people are really starting to catch on to, and that is our Adopt an Eagle program. And that starts at the $25 level. And what that is essentially you adopt one of the Eagle ambassadors at the center. You can pick your favorite, whichever one you want. And depending on what level you adopt at, you get various exclusive materials. You get a certificate of adoption. You get a nice picture photo of your adopted eagle. And then as you go up in level, you can start to get things like monthly and quarterly updates. You might get some exclusive video content about your ambassador and your adoptee. So that is a really exciting program that's really brand new at the center. And so if somebody is looking to do that, it's a great way to stay engaged and continually learn about the life and the care of your eagle for the whole year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also want to talk about some of the different experiences that your organization can provide, which are amazing. But I wanted to mention or just talk about the eagles themselves. You actually have live eagles at the center, and they are you guys do presentations throughout the day with these live eagles. And one of the eagles was an Angel. That's the one I remember seeing when I was down there years ago. That eagle's been there for several years, hasn't it?
Yeah, Angel has been at the center since 2001. She was actually the second ambassador to come to the center. Now, the original eagle ambassador was Harriet, and that is an eagle that a lot of people came to know very well over the years, and she's actually also the eagle that is featured on the Minnesota Support Our Troops license plate, and that really is to commemorate all the work that she did doing veterans outreach during her time at the National Eagle Center. So she did a lot of trips to the VA hospital in St. Paul, and so she's honored with that commemoration on the license plate as well. But yes, Angel has been there since 2001.
What is a typical lifespan of bald eagles?
Yeah, popular question, and the reality is pretty fascinating. So if it's a wild eagle, they can live on average about 20 to 25 years. That's a pretty solid lifespan for a wild eagle. However, in human care, their quality of life is so much better. They just don't have those stresses of living out in the wild. They get veterinary care, climate-controlled conditions, daily meals. We could see our ambassadors live into their 30s or even their early 40s.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, that is. So we could see Angel there for a while longer before she retires. So,
yeah, she's only 23 right now. So yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I want to make sure again people understand just this how interactive the center is. I mean, when you walk through this place, and I haven't been there since it was remodeled or updated here last year. But you've got throughout the day, you've got experts that are talking about the eagle and answering questions and it's literally right there in front of your face. I mean, it's a very interactive experience when you're at the Eagle Center.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the primary building, we now refer to it as our riverfront building that people are familiar with, that has 2 floors of exhibits, and following the renovations that I mentioned earlier, that whole building is now dedicated to the care of the Eagle ambassadors themselves and exhibit space. It used to be that the second floor housed all of our administrative offices and things like that, but we have since moved those office spaces across the alley onto Main Street. So the whole building is dedicated to the Eagles and learning about Eagles, and those 2 floors have, you know, interactive exhibits. The stars of the show are on display in the room that we call Ambassador Avenue. It's known as a MEW. That's a falconry term. So they live in that space. They're on display every single day. And just like you said, people can get in there. They can get very close to the birds. And there's always one of our naturalists in there to answer any and all of their questions. So for a lot of our guests, that really is the highlight. That and going to one of our programs, our daily programs that you mentioned, but getting to see the Eagles up close, just a few feet away, and just get to observe them, you know, living their daily lives, eating their meals, maybe doing an enrichment, taking a bath. All of those things are experiences that people don't get every day, but they do get every day at the National Eagle Center, and people absolutely love those experiences.
Well, no, for sure. And it's, again, just the architecture of the building. If people have a chance to go online, they can get some glimpses of it. But, I mean, you have walls of windows overlooking the Mississippi River, and you can see the eagles in their natural habitat, and you can also see them right there up close in the center itself.
Yes, and that I would say is one of the unique aspects of the National Eagle Center is, yes, you're getting to watch wild eagles right outside the center, out on the river, but then as you're watching them, you are literally standing next to the Eagle ambassadors just a few feet away. And it's not every day that you get to learn about a topic or a subject matter and you get to experience it that way. A lot of times you're kind of learning things, you know, remotely or from a distance. So at the National Eagle Center, you're learning about eagles out in the wild, and then you have the ambassadors who are right there next to you. That is a truly unique way to learn, a great educational experience. I should also add, Ken, that people may be wondering, well, why are the ambassadors at the center? They have all been permanently injured and rescued out in the wild. They went through rehabilitation. The goal of rehabilitation is always to get those birds back out into the wild if they are able to. But unfortunately, sometimes their injuries are of a nature that just don't allow that to happen. And so when that happens, rehab centers have to find permanent homes for those birds. And we are, you know, it's unfortunate that the ambassadors have to live with us at the National Eagle Center, but we are very honored to be their caretakers. But we also wish that, you know, they could live out in the wild as well, but that's just not able to be the case. 2 of the eagles that we have, Angel and Columbia, are females. They have permanent wing injuries, and they are unable to sustain flight. Our 2 males, Latch and Washaka, they both have left eye injuries, and so are blind on their left side. And for animals that are so visually oriented, blindness in one of those eyes would be a death sentence in the wild.
Yeah, and what's interesting too, I know you've got some great education specialists that walk people through each of the eagles that are out there when they're being presented, and it is interesting to know that so many times people that do run across an injured eagle, they do bring it to the University of Minnesota, the Twin Cities Center, and a lot of times the eagles will get brought to places like yours for being able to add a real special element to our lives when they wouldn't be able to survive in the wild as it is. So, I mean, they're really serving a great purpose. And what's interesting too is when you're down there, these animals are massive. These are big. When they flap their wings, that's almost as long as and as tall as the educators that are talking about them.
Yeah, it's interesting because eagles especially are almost contradictions in terms, because they are very large. You know, their wingspans can get between 6 and 7 feet, wingtip to wingtip. But people are always amazed to learn how much they weigh. And the thing to keep in mind is with bald eagles, they're covered in over 7,000 individual feathers. And I can assure you that a lot of that is fluff. But the other thing to keep in mind is, you know, one of the keys to flight is to be lightweight. And so a lot of people will look at the birds, and they are big. Physically, they are large. But when it comes to their actual weight and composition, they are not as heavy as many people would suspect.
Wow. All right. We're ending this segment here in a few seconds, but when we get back, I'd love to talk about a very special spokesperson that you had talked to me about here when we get back, and as a part of the whole outreach program that the National Eagle Center does, and the great work that you guys are doing to help sustain the wonderful information that we have about the eagles and how important it is to maintain those habitats and to support the work that you guys do. It's time for a short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Ed Hahn, Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, located here in Minnesota, in Wabasha, on the Mississippi River, 30 minutes south of Red Wing on Highway 61. And we were talking about what's happening at the National Eagle Center and why you need to check it out this winter season. If you have a question for us, please text us at 612-999-3426. Once again, 612-999-3426. I am Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about ways of improving your health and quality of life. And my name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Ed Hahn, and he is the Director of Marketing and Communication at the National Eagle Center, located in Wabasha, Minnesota, on the Mississippi River, about 30-some miles, about 40-minute drive south of Red Wing, on Highway 61. And we've been talking about what's happening at the National Eagle Center and why you should check it out this winter season. And the thing is, winter is uniquely eagle season here in the southeast part of the Mississippi area of Minnesota, the southwest area of Wisconsin. It's so amazing that all these eagles migrate here over the winter, and because we do have open water at certain points on the river, and that's where they can feed. And it's an amazing sight to see when you can see a dozen eagles all perched in trees along the river. Quite a sight to see. But we've been talking about the center's mission to help educate and inspire people from all walks of life, and how you can get involved in supporting care and educational missions of the Eagle Ambassadors. So if you have a question for us, please text us at 612-999-3426. And if you have any questions for Ed, you can reach him at the nationaleaglecenter.org, and you can call them 651-565-4989. And I really encourage you to look at their website, nationaleaglecenter.org. All right, Ed, are you still on the line?
I am here.
All right. We get the last segment here, and there's so many more questions I have for you, so much more to talk about. I'll have to see if we can get.
Well, we can talk all day, to be perfectly honest.
Well, no, but I tell people the one criteria I have to be a guest on the show is a passion for something, and this is such a great thing that you guys are doing down there in Wabasha, and I I think just grandparents, parents bringing children down there, I think it would be something that kids would remember their whole life, and it also would be a great experience for the parents and grandparents to show children just the amazing things that your organization's been doing. And I do want to talk about just briefly here the fact that you guys have such a great outreach program, and you touch so many people in so many ways that isn't necessarily a parent thinking, I'm going to go to like a quote-unquote museum. That's not the case here at all. You guys are so active in the communities and outreach, and I wanted to see if you could just share with us the story of David that you had shared with me previously.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. The birds are inspirational. They provide motivation. They touch lives. And right now we have a new spokesperson who actually volunteered to have his story shared to help people support the Eagles. And his name is David. He's an 11-year-old boy from Illinois. And I believe it was last year, he has to go monthly to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And so, he was going there for appointments, and his mother told him that as a reward for doing the appointments, they would stop at the National Eagle Center. And so they did that last year, and David showed up, and he immediately formed a very strong bond and connection with the Eagles, specifically Ambassador Washaka. And I'll paraphrase here, but he said, when I came in and our eyes met, I instantly knew that he was my Eagle and I am his person. And so David basically now stops in at the center every single month that he goes to Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And so, he's just one person, but I think his story exemplifies the significance and the meaning and the inspiration that the bald eagle, but specifically, our eagle ambassadors have for people. And that's not just, kids. That's not just adults. We see that with veterans as well. We've had people literally come to the National Eagle Center on hospital beds before because that was either their dying wish or they just, felt such a need to be close to the birds during a time of treatment or illness or what have you. So, David is a brilliant young boy, very passionate about the Eagles and sharing the knowledge and the love of Eagles with the whole world. And so we're very grateful for him for lending his voice to that. But it's also so rewarding for our entire team and our entire organization to see the positive impact that working with the Eagles and our programming and our mission is able to have for people like David. And again, he's just one person, but right now he's kind of the face and the voice for all of those people out there whose lives have been touched by the Eagles at the National Eagle Center.
Fantastic. We're at the end of the show here, Ed. But if people want to donate or get more information, they can go to the website, nationaleaglecenter.org, and that's where they can help support this amazing effort that you guys are doing. All right. Thank you so much, Ed, for joining me today. We hope you enjoyed today's show, folks. Please contact us with any questions or comments you have regarding today's conversation. You can reach us anytime by voice or text at 612-999-3426. Please join us again next noon for another live broadcast. And thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, please choose to live well.